Yeah, fire up.
Yo. I'm here with one of my favorite tech guys on YouTube, the one and only See Over the Technician. How are you doing today, sir?
Hello. Hold on, I'm gonna hit you with the hello.
I love when I have you on because we get to have these other all filter topics that in the grand scheme of things matter the most as opposed to certain very minute sectors of the internet.
Yeah.
So first things first, I want to get your thoughts on the Trump's election,
Yeah.
and in
hmm
regards to what he was saying about the net neutrality and the internet. So how do you see this thing going with him in office?
Oh, it's gonna go. It's gonna get rocky, right? Because the Democrats are gonna stop a lot of things that going to try to stop a lot of things that he's gonna do.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the confirmation hearings, it's gonna get real nasty politically when it comes to Trump, because the Democrats are gonna go all out in stopping everything that he does. But the biggest thing when it comes to the net neutrality and the digital bill of rights, so that in his absence we don't go back to the corporate technocrat controlled state that it was on Twitter, where they have the ability to simply control all forms of information in and out, including with what Google and Facebook did with the Twitter files, and Google working against conservatives to derank them in search results. So that is their entire strategy, political strategy, is to control the flow of information. And Trump work revising 230, creating a digital bill of rights, creating net neutrality as far as it comes in the United States,
Mm.
would really uproot all of their strategic plans politically to control how information is delivered to the masses. So it's going to cause a lot of problems for them, especially with how they lost this recent election, because it was a really bad. Like, this probably the second worst loss in modern history, next to nothing beats Mondale Reagan.
Oh God, no.
Um,
Oh God, no.
yeah,
Oh,
nothing will ever beat Mondale Reagan, just for the simple fact that it was he got taken up behind the shed, right?
yeah.
So nothing's going to ever beat that. But this was the second worst loss, because when you look at it by counties, when you look at it like the counties that she lost, like she lost Detroit, she broke even in borough. She broke even in like Staten Island in New York.
Hmm.
Like, she lost a lot of black counties in Florida, Jacksonville. She lost a lot of black counties. So, not looking at it statewide, but when we look at it county-wide, it was a massive movement to the right in black populated areas. And really, if you looked at the map, the only states that she won were states that had no voter ID.
Okay.
So Trump's president forcing voter ID, removing their ability to silence people through the technical theocracy, it's going to cause a whole lot of problems for them, because with how they lost recently, it's not looking good for them when it comes to midterms,
Hmm.
and it's going to be very shaky for them when it comes into the 2028 election as well.
I think your audio might have rerouted itself to something else.
Test, 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 test.
Okay, there you go. You're back. Okay.
Really? Okay.
It went kind of muffled a bit, and I'm like, okay, I think it might have rerouted. Let's not.
You hear me? You hear me good now?
You're golden, crystal.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so I remember you said that you made a point that they would amend to Section 230, but not abolish it altogether.
No. I could never say that they would abolish Section 230, because it simply wouldn't make any sense. It would cause more problems.
Okay.
So I don't. They wouldn't. It wouldn't make any sense for Republicans or Democrats to abolish Section 230. It just wouldn't make any sense. But I will say that they will revise it. I've heard leaders would revise Section 230. It's either going to be a Republican that does it, or it's going to be a Democrat that does it. So if you want someone to revise it, you'd rather a person like a Trump revise it
Hmm.
than a corporate Democrat, because you know what's going to happen if they get a chance to revise it.
Okay. Where do you see problems for content creators moving forward the next 4 years, as far as what can be said, what can't be said? Because I have this stance of I just don't believe your freedom of speech is ever in the clear and present danger that most people make it out to be. If you're on private companies and private servers, that's private. But for the most part, there's enough avenues for you to get out here and say whatever you want. The government doesn't tell you what to wear. They don't tell you what to read. These are all under the definition of freedom of speech. How do you see it, or what do you? How do you see problems arising for those that like to speak out among certain things on the internet and off the internet?
Well, as far as it goes with the Trump era, freedom of speech will be free. Well, to an extent, like on X, right? And you can hear me good now, right?
Yeah. You're perfect. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So on X, so the problem with X is that X was 100% controlled by the government and the Democrats, right? So there was only freedom of speech for liberals and Democrats on X. So X was their platform. The Twitter files showed that X was used directly as a way to silence people who said things that the current administration, which was the Harris Biden administration, did not like at all, right? So they had a straight line of communication with X, with the moderators of X, to personally ban people that said certain things that they didn't like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same line of communication that was shown through through a Senate hearing was available for YouTube and Facebook. And that same tool that all of these social media platforms use, they also collaborated with each other to simultaneously ban people, which is what we saw with Alex Jones, to a small extent, Steven Crowder. So before the Trump administration, your freedom of speech relied on who you leaned with politically.
Okay.
So there's that. Now, with Elon Musk, the freedom of speech thing is still a variable because there's still people who can't really say certain things. Like, there's a woman who named BX Bullet, and her whole thing is going against these satanic pizza cults, and her content is also is constantly be throttled. She was banned recently, and it gets downranked on X, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's still massive amounts of porn. If you so sidetrack, right? How algorithms work is that they give you what they know you want to see. They give you what they think you want to see, and they show you things that you might like, right? So the whole thing about the racism on X, that's what you follow,
Right.
right? Like, I've looked at other people's Twitter feeds that talk about racism on X, and all their things about race and DEI and black jobs, and arguing with white people about black jobs and DEI, and so they think it's racist, right? People who say there's so much porn on X. Well, if you follow a lot of OnlyFans and porno creators, then yeah, you're going to see a lot of porn on X,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That's so X only, like, as far as like what goes with X and YouTube, they only show you what you like, right? So if you like looking at porn on X, you're gonna see a lot of porn. If you
Mm-hmm.
like following and arguing with people about racial relations and politics and race and DEI and all of this stuff, you're gonna get all of that. X is gonna give that to you, right? So that's how that works. So coming back to X with Elon Musk, there's still not 100% free speech, but it's a drastic difference than what it was before, right? Because people were not allowed to talk about the Wu flu that they're openly able to talk about it now, right? They weren't also able to talk about politics in a way that was leaning benefit to Trump like they are now. So yeah, like Elon Musk buying X was one of the most pivotal moments for the Trump campaign, because I promise you, if Elon Musk did not have X, no one would have been able to see anything about Trump. I promise you that.
Right.
You would have not seen pretty much zero Trump content on X. So going forward with the Trump campaign, Facebook especially, because Mike Zuckerberg, I think there's something going on with him, and he don't want to get put away. YouTube is going to YouTube, but X is definitely with X. You're going to see a gradual shift to platforms playing nice, right? They're gonna do their best to play nice, because the Trump administration, from what it looks like, will be an actual administration that will eventually start putting foot to ass.
Mm-hmm.
And once he's inaugurated, the foot to ass will begin. And there's going to be companies that that want to fight back, and however his agencies work, including with Doge, they're going to be in trouble. So yeah,
What's your take on Blue Sky? Those
I don't
certain.
know. I looked at Blue Sky. It looks like Parlor, but for liberals. I mean, I don't. You know, it's Parlor for liberals. I don't know what else to say.
um. Okay. So for the most part, we're gonna be good to go. I just find it funny that nobody brings up that element of fascism when it came to the Biden administration, versus as opposed to
Listen, I
stifling
don't
people.
listen. When I hear someone talk about fascism, I tune out immediately. That
Okay.
mean that that just, with all due respect, I just hear puppet drone after
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear you say fascism, the Biden administration had a tool, a line of communication with all social media platforms that their members of their administration and their staff could reach out to these social media platforms and pick a person out and tell them to ban that person. The Biden administration had the power to tell Mark Zuckerberg that when you get a report about this Hunter Biden laptop story, to block that shit and send it into oblivion and don't let it be shareable on your platforms
Mm-hmm.
when the story was known to be true. That is fascism. To control the free press. The Biden administration had the power to tell Twitter, hey, the New York Post, any news media organization that shares any information in regards to showing evidence of the Hunter Biden laptop story, you are to remove it and take it off your platform. The New York Post is a 100-year-old newspaper media agency in New York City. That is literally like you deleting an article for the LA Times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah, yes, it's the New York Post, but it's been around for a very long time. Okay, it's not freaking Breitbart News or the what's okay, I'll just stick to Breitbart. There's another one that I'm forgetting, but I say it's not Breitbart. Okay, it's the New York Post. So, and they had the power to tell them to delete the article. And then Twitter told the New York Post that you can't come back on the platform until you apologize for the article. And the New York Post said, no, we're not doing that. Okay. And they were eventually able to come back on Twitter and share the story, which has now been proven to be 100% factually true and accurate. So that's fascism. So the Trump administration has done a lot of things that people don't agree with, but that's not one of them.
Right.
To my knowledge, I don't know of a story where Trump was able to tell a social media agency to delete that story and they deleted the story. I don't know of that. I know there's countless times of the Biden administration, previous administration, being able to do that. So that's fascism.
I want to get your thoughts on the story of certain YouTubers that were paid or funded by non-American companies to espouse a certain type of rhetoric. I thought it was a
Mm-hmm.
flex when I saw how much they were getting paid. Um, what are your thoughts on that? Is that a dangerous, slippery slope for content creators?
No, because it happens all the time. I mean, the Biden administration was paying influencers to talk about the jibby jab.
Okay.
They paid thousands of dollars to have people promote the jibby jab. They paid money to have late night show hosts promote the jibby jab. So the whole Tim Pool thing with the Russian um media agency thing, it's it's a little there's a lot more to it than the story that was broke about it. There's a lot more to it, right? And there's a lot of plausible deniability that goes involved with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like for Benny Johnson, they have the ability to say that we didn't have an obligation to talk about certain stories, but you made sure to just simply not talk about Russia. Same thing like with ESPN. Um, ESPN says ESPN doesn't talk about China at all whatsoever. You can't say anything about China.
Right.
You can't reference China. You can't casually talk about China. You can't say anything that would go against China, and there's reasons for that. So that's throughout all of social media, throughout all influencers. That's not it's not as big and problematic as people think it is.
Is that a goal that maybe mid tier, upper tier content creators should kind of aspire to if you get approached by a certain government faction to just to say certain things for a certain payday? Is that a respectable goal per se?
No,
'Cause
because that can cost you in the long run.
okay, how so?
Because integrity matters to an extent.
Okay.
Depending on how, depending on depending on your niche, integrity matters, right? Like, so let's use an example. So the game Dragon's Dogma, yeah, on Greg Deep too. Yeah, you can't talk about Israel, but we already know. We don't gotta explain that part. We don't got the people. We already know. Ain't no one really gonna be talking about Israel besides Candace Owens. But so the video game Dragon's Dogma came out, and it's like terrible woke trash, right? Like they have a demon character that's telling the characters that they're non-binary and stuff. Like it's complete nonsense, right?
Mhm.
So say you're a gaming creator and you talk so much about DI and woke games, and you take a free credit from Dragon's Dogma to review the game, and then you give it a neutral review. That's going to cost you your integrity because now people see you as a shill,
Okay.
right? So now if you come back and try to go hard, it doesn't matter because they're going to see you as a shill, right? So yeah, you can try to chase like shilling things. Matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned that. Perfect example too. David Pakman. So are you aware of the liberal podcasters that started crying because they've been seeing an influx and a massive flood of their paid supporters from their channels
Yeah.
and their platforms?
Yeah.
Great example. You can go ahead and shill if you want. It will cost you eventually, right? David Pakman has lost probably over 10,000 paid supporters. We're not talking about paid supporters and subscribers. Okay, so paid supporters, that 5,000 out of that 10,000 could be $7,500 a month out of your income.
Right.
Okay, David Pakman, Midas Network, all of the liberal, progressive, Democratic shill channels saw an influx on election night of people leaving their platforms because the liberals and the Democratic people realized, like, wait a minute, look at this map. We've been lied to. We're on the wrong side. What we thought was real is not real, and these guys are liars. So you can take all the money from the government and to pump stuff for countries and different companies if you want. You can take that money. Eventually, it will cost you, and when you lose your integrity, that will cost you a lot of money, and it's hard to
Um.
get that back.
Okay. So two things, I guess. Will they walk back their rhetoric since after seeing how much loss they've incurred since election night? Number one, and number two, is social media the bubble kind of responsible for this? They didn't believe it till they seen it. The bubble burst. Now it's like, oh, this is how people really feel in the real world.
No, because a lot of them are having a hard time coming to terms with things, right? Like The View, right? The View, they're having a hard time right now. They might fire them. They're going to replace them women on The View eventually, right? They're going to replace them. So after Trump gets inaugurated, don't be surprised if you see some of them people gone, because The View has to have some semblance of balance if there's a Republican in office, and they see their ratings tank, regardless of what people say. Money is money. Yes, money is money, and you can't lose money. Okay, so you can't be losing money. So money is money, but you can't lose money,
Mhm.
because you lose money, you lose ratings. When you lose ratings, you lose more money, and then you have to make changes because regardless of how the concept of money operates with big companies, there's a board, and the board says, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" There's a lot of money that's going out of the door now, right? So
Right.
all these media programs and these news agencies, they've seen pretty much a 50 to 55% loss in viewership. Okay. I don't know much about TV, but I know if a show loses 55, over 50% of viewership, that's a cancellation before you even get to the conversation of a
That's
second
right.
season.
That's right.
That's cancellation, right? So a lot of these news agencies are going to get fired. These people, they already got rid of one guy who tried to walk his way out the door talking about he's going to start a podcast. They fired him. Chris Wallace, I think it is, right? So he can start talking about he's going to start a podcast because he knew he was about to get fired. Um, I'm sorry. What was your initial question again? I forgot the question.
Will the progressive, the libs, will they walk back the rhetoric? Because you say they believe they've been lied to, and
Yeah.
for me, it's like kind of hard for me to believe that they actually believe what they've been spewing all these years.
So then it's two parts, right?
Okay.
So you have the content creators and the content consumers. The content creators are going to still double down, right? We got the Midas Network. They're still talking Trump loss and Trump secure democracy and Trump this and Trump that, and they're going to keep it going, right?
Okay.
They're going to keep it going, right? Like the other people, like a David Pakman, he'll probably keep it going. He'll eventually have to dumb it down or to make some sort of neutral pivot, unless he wants to continue to lose followers and lose paid supporters. But the consumers, um, no, right? Because a lot of the consumers believe that they are right and they have been wronged and they are still on the side of righteousness, right? Now, if you were to just look at that map, you would say about 55, 56% of the people in this country on average, supported Trump, and about 40 to 45% supported Kamala Harris, right? So that 45 to 40% will always fight because they think they're right, right? They still think that dude's a fascist. He's a brown shirt, right? He's a brown shirt. He's going to take away all their rights. He's going to create Project 2025, and we're going to lose all civil liberties. We're going to go back on the field and pick cotton. He's going to collapse the economy. The world is going to burn to ashes. We're going to be in Gundams, and we're going to have to fight each other because that's how
Not
bad things are
Gundam.
going to get.
Not
Like
the
that's,
mobile
I mean,
suits.
like that's what they believe, right? And so that's why the rhetoric is now is I hope you guys get what you asked for. I hope you get everything that you asked for, and they're arguing about all the things that Trump said he's going to do. I say I hope you get every single thing that you wanted and asked for. So those people, right? Those people are going to say the same thing that they're going to continue to say, right? They're going to continue to say it up until when he gets inaugurated. They're going to say it anything for the next 4 years. That is their shtick, right?
Yeah.
And what's going to happen with them is there's going to be a time when there's no Trump. Okay? There will be a time when there is no Trump. And when there is no Trump, then there is nothing else to focus all of your mental derangement at because there's no Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't say, okay, this guy sounds like Trump because there's no Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say, oh, this guy was in Trump's cabinet. It doesn't matter. There's no more Trump. Trump is gone. So now, what's next? That's going to cause a lot of problems on both sides with the content consumers and the content creators because they're not going to be able to talk about Trump anymore because Trump makes money when you talk about Trump. It's easy to make content talking about Trump. Just as much as it's easy to farm Trump supporters with letter 17 conspiracies, right? When you make content like that, it's easy. It's very easy to farm them. It's also easy to farm liberals talking about Trump. That makes a lot of money. It's very easy to do that. You just fire for things, oh, Trump bad. Yeah, he's bad. That's it. It's easy. But but it's going to be a reckoning once people start to realize once he's inaugurated and all if that's the case, I mean I could be proven wrong, but if all the bad things they say he's going to do actually don't happen, then it's going to come a second wave of cancellations because then they're going to think, wait a minute, You guys said all these bad things are going to happen, and they're not happening, right? They're not taking away our reproductive. He's not taking away our reproductive rights. He's not sending us back to the cotton field. He's not crashing the economy. At least he's not crashing the economy. I still think they'll probably pull the rug out to make things bad for him, but we'll see.
Right.
Right. I think, a lot of people think that's there's a high possibility of that, but we shall see. Okay? Because I thought the world was going to burn with COVID, and it only got, it only got a little crispy. The world only got a little crispy. It didn't burn. It
I,
got crispy.
I want to go back to one of your original points when you said the
Yeah.
Dems would contest all of his cabinet picks. I see a possible bigger issue because we all know presidents got first 2 years to do something in the first 2 years of presidency.
Then come primaries. Primaries, right? Primaries.
Yeah. He's got House and Senate, but I don't think it's going to go as smoothly as people think because there's a lot of rhinos in the House and the Senate, and
that guy they got in is a rhino.
Okay, how problematic do you think it?
I think that this Trump administration is operating under different terms.
Okay.
And I think those rhinos are going to get right, and they're going to act accordingly. And that's all I'm gonna be able to say about that one.
Okay.
I think they're going to get right. Because there have been a lot of strange things with this whole from Trump to 45 to 47. There's a lot of strange things that I haven't been able to understand or explain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of those rhinos, they're going to get right unless they want to get primary in 2 years.
Okay.
Because I don't see a drastic leaning back to the left just in under 2 years like we saw in 2022. Again, I could be wrong. But I think this go around, the rhinos and those Republicans, they see the writing on the wall. They get along to go along, get the job done so that we could all win, so that we don't have the typical Republican in for, then they argue with each other, then lose to the Democrats. Then we got 8 more years of Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Republican gets in for 4, loses, and then we have 8 more years of Democrats. I think they'll get it. They'll have no choice to get their act together this go around.
Well, let's play speculation.
Yeah.
2028, 2032. I got Gavin Newsom. Who you got?
I don't even think Gavin Newsom would make it out of primaries.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm. It doesn't matter with the Republicans, really. Like, JD Vance would be an automatic pick. I don't think Trump could also probably get rid of JD Vance as a vice president, so that could also happen. You have like a Tulsi Gabbard, maybe, sure, whatever. I think she's I don't think it really matters for 2028. I'll say that, right?
Okay.
It doesn't matter as far as the Democrat because Gavin Newsom, his leadership in California is questionable at best, right? Questionable at best.
Okay.
And the perspective of the counties in California, of the county map in California, says that California not necessarily would lean to a point where it turns red, but by the counties, there's a growing population of people that are like, listen, like, we get it, but this is a bit much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the messaging, right? So Gavin Newsom says that he's going to fight ICE and prevent the deportation of illegal immigrants. So that's technically going against the will of your what do they call the people in the electorate, right?
Okay.
You're going against the will of the electorate because they overwhelmingly voted for help me out, Sly. Prop 9, 39?
9. There's 3 props that was up. 33, 36.
One of the props was to
9.
turn the misdemeanors back into felonies, right?
Prop 9, yeah.
Prop 9, there we go. So your electorate overwhelmingly voted for Prop 9. Okay? That coincides with the mass influx of the illegals.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, screw what you people talking about. I want to do what I want to do because I want to grandstand for the Democratic Party, which is in shambles right now. So that shows that you don't have any political foresight because it's currently in shambles.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about getting rid of Chuck Schumer. They want to get rid of Nancy Pelosi. They want to get rid of everybody. They want to. They want to shake the foundation of Democratic um um leadership to its core. But the problem is that you're related to Nancy. So if she gone, you don't got no leverage anymore. And I promise you, the Gen Z liberals, they're not going for that Nancy Pelosi Chuck Schumer shit
Mm-hmm.
in 2020. They're not going for that. They're not, because they see you as a connection to the people that cost Kamala her presidency. They see you. They'll see you as a problem.
I agree with what you're saying,
Yeah.
but from what I've seen of Californians, they have short-term memory loss. Now, in regards to Gavin, this man survived 2 recalls, 2,
Which is
and
not. Which is I
right.
can't, that shit is crazy to me.
And this is the same Gavin Newsom that basically had California open during the pandemic. There were a lot of counties that were like, "We're not," and he was like, and people were just out here partying and exchanging, bodily fluids.
I would say I wouldn't put my hat on Gavin Newsom because I would be surprised if he made it through I would be surprised if he made it through primaries. Okay, because Gavin Newsom would come in with the same energy that Kamala Harris had, and she didn't even make it past Iowa. So I would be surprised if a Gavin Newsom made it through primaries, right? Because he would represent that same kind of corporate Democrat. Like, I mean, there's people. So let me go back to that 40 to 45% thing again, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's 40 to 45% of people who think that Gavin Newsom is the Trump equivalent for Democrats. They think he's a crazy Democrat that'll put foot to ass and he's their leader and yada 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 yada. Okay? You have to appeal to over 50% of the people in the country. And over 50% of the people in the country connect you and California with failure. Regardless of how good California's been doing or the argument against it, right? I'm not here to argue about whether or not California's good. I'm just here to tell you what the perception is. Perception is that when they hear California, they hear Gavin Newsom and they hear failure and they hear China. Okay, so you'll have to convince people on the other side of the country that what you did and how you ran California is not in fact connected to failure and not in fact connected to China. And you have to convince people of that. When you can simply just say, hey, Josh Shapiro, we needed you in Pennsylvania, and the previous administration, because they're anti-small hats, they said no. So we need you to bring back and save democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have the middle of the road, likable Democrat versus the douchebag city boy that looks like a DC villain. So which
Okay.
one? So you have to argue. Then the people have to argue against that with their policies.
Okay. I'll say you're right to all that.
Uh-huh.
But all it takes is 1 or 2 good years right before Gavin is prepped to run or make a concession to run.
Mm-hmm.
People will forget all the bad stuff. 2 years is all it takes, basically. He's a white male. Okay, I think the majority of the country still identifies as white male leadership to some degree. We agree we don't want a woman. All right.
I think they're gonna pause on the woman thing for a while.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna pause on that one until they have like a really strong female candidate that's likable. Because it's so funny with the Democrats, right? When you get a Democratic female presidential candidate, she's always not likable, and that says a lot about the Democrats and who they are as a collective. Like the majority of you guys, you pick a woman, and then no one likes the woman because she's just condescending and just unlikable. It's like, why are you like this? Like, but I'm sorry, I forget what you were saying. Yeah, the white
my
man.
final point, I think the biggest point is, who do the Dems have? Like, they have nobody.
At this current no, that's the problem. At this current point, they have no one.
Yeah.
They're having they're trying to decide like maybe John Fetterman, or maybe we could go back and get Josh Shapiro. Let's see what Gavin Newsom wants to do. Gretchen Whitmer. Like they have no one at the point. That's the problem, right? They have no one. They have no one. They blew their load on Kamala. They blew their load on Kamala, and they got took out behind the woodshed. Which honestly, like a sensible person, I'm an independent. I've been independent since I got my first state ID, and I'm never changed that. But independent, like okay, like we see her, but like she's objectively bad. No,
Mm.
she's not bad. She did cool, but she's still bad.
Yeah.
Like me, people like me, we were like, hey, go on, get behind the Raspy train and fire up the engine for RFK.
Yeah.
That's the guy to beat Trump. Get up on that RFK train. I know he got some skeletons in the closet. Just go ahead and pull the broom out. Just put him in the closet. Yeah, y'all do with all the other people. Just put them in the closet and get behind that RFK train. But they didn't want that. They wanted to be corporate Democrats, and they wanted to get they wanted to put Sleepy Joe, and we all knew Sleepy Joe shouldn't have even been running. And Sleepy Joe said, "Don't worry about it. I got it. I'll take him out behind the."
You know what's
I
funny?
take him out behind the woodshed.
This last few interviews that he's done, he looks awfully spry.
Oh, because yeah, they that's the other clone, because they told the clone they told the clone, look, I said this on my stream. Listen, I don't care what no one tell me. I don't care about what conspiracy you got to tell me. I need somebody to explain to me why on 9/11/2021 that man had a square skin tag on the side of his face. I just need one of y'all to explain that to me. I will yield any other thing that you have to say to me, but I need someone to explain that to me, because that's a Getty image that's on the Getty website. So I need somebody to explain that image to me. So anyway, so they told the clone, all right, cool, no problem, man. I think the clone, whoever the guy is that's in the Biden mask, he just happy he could go back to his life now. Like, Joe Biden gonna probably quote unquote pass away soon after Trump get in office. The actor, whoever's behind that message, is happy. Like, I can go back to my life. I can play Call of Duty. I can watch Arcane season 2 now. I'm happy. I'm so happy you back, man. I can get to go back to living my life, because the day after she lost, Joe Biden running and shit.
Yeah.
He's skinning and grinning. He not stuttering no more. He can form coherent sentences, and he just looked like he got new life.
Yeah.
He done got some sea moss at the right time of the season with 25 minerals, not 107 minerals. Sea
Not
moss.
107.
Not 100. See, he got the 25 mineral sea moss and not the 107 sea moss. So he good money now. Joe ready to go. Joe ready to go. He's so happy. He's like, man, he probably told Trump, man, I'm so happy you back in my G. I'm getting so tired of, every time I got to look at fucking Jill ass, man, I'm so sick of this. I'm so happy you win. Just let me know when I can take this shit off and go back to my life.
Right.
Please. Come on, man. Fuck out of here.
Hey, shout out to Club Fortune. Yeah, my final point with the Gavin. Yeah, all it takes is a good Olympics and a good World Cup, and people will forget. It just clean up all the homeless. Yeah, get the homeless out of here and bring in some money, pump some money in, and people will forget real quick. I think they've learned the lessons from Kamala, how they ran. They won't make these mistakes ever again.
I will argue that they haven't learned the lesson, and we'll have to see.
Okay. Fair enough.
See.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. All right, so I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation with you, because you, of all people, are the one that I listen to and glean from a lot. Okay, let's start first here, because of everything we've seen over the last week or so. It has only validated to me that Black YouTube is so inconsequential. Let's start there first. When it comes down to...
Okay, so tell me why. So first tell me, why do you think Black YouTube is so inconsequential?
Okay, this MKBHD fiasco has solidified to me. I always knew, but when you really get into it, it's like, it's like the Weebay. It's like, I didn't. It's the whole meme. Like, I didn't know. It just further solidifies how just minute and how lacking of an
So
impact.
they didn't know how tech people felt about things genuinely, or how tech people
Yes.
operate.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know this was going on outside of the black YouTube bubble. And it just, for me, it's just
That's
like, damn.
that's fascinating.
Yeah. It's for me, it's like, damn, I've been down here in the gutter for so long. I forgot what it's like, respectfully, to be on the other side of things.
So when you so to add some context to that, right? So when you look at what people watch, right? Some people just watch one thing, right?
Yeah.
So on it, some people are like that, but there's people that they just watch tech content. That's all they watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had Easy Computer Solutions on my channel, and he said he just watches tech content. He don't watch power. He just watches tech content, right? To me, like I find that strange, right? So I'm I'm probably of a small percentage of people that have a YouTube channel and just watches kind of everything,
Okay.
right? So I do have a hard time relating to people who just watch one thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because as you know, I can talk and I can talk about anime, I can talk about some ASMR shit, I can talk about some face of channel stuff, I can go talk about some cartoon stuff, some car stuff, and these are all stuff things that I come across and watch on YouTube. So when you want to get into the mind of a person and just watch one thing, right? You look at what a person just so let's say you just watch black YouTube, right? So black YouTube can be classified as pop culture, social commentary, political content, interpersonal relationships, which is dating, relationship, and quasi red pill and fringe social political movements like 4B, feminism,
Mm-hmm.
incel culture, manosphere stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how you break down that chart, right? And you can write it out and you'll see it as a chart, and you can just break it down line by line by line, right? So when you say you circle and say, okay, this is black, this is what constitutes as black YouTube, right? So then you look into that and you find the outliers that don't exist, right? So there's no tech, right? There's probably people who work in IT, but IT and tech are two different types of content. So when people say tech, they consider it to be IT, but it's separate niches altogether, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who work in IT happen to make tech content, but that doesn't mean that people who make tech content also make IT content, right?
Right.
So you exclude tech, right? And then the tech content is broken down into several different categories. And not to be long-winded, we'll just say we when I say tech, I'm equating it to mobile gadgets and consumer electronics, right? So
Mm-hmm.
consumer electronics, you go phones, tablets, headphones, and then smaller gadgets on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you do tech, you can't just say tech is PC because PC and tech are two separate niches altogether, right?
Right.
So we're going to exclude that too. So those are two things that are not in there, right? So if you have tech, you have mobile consumer electronics, and then you have PC, Mac content creators as well. So both of those people aren't in Black YouTube. So now when you say, okay, these people, like this person, man or woman, just watches Black YouTube, and they're being excluded from all this stuff. That's including gaming, right? We're not even talking about gaming. So when you say something happened with MKBHD, and then people are like, "What? Who's MKBHD? Oh, I've seen some of his content. Oh, I didn't know that happened with tech. Like, what are they arguing about tech? Why are people arguing about phones? Completely parallel universes, right? And that's the fascinating thing about YouTube, right? Is that you can have two people sitting next to each other on a train. They they're sitting right next to each other, and in their internet and what they consume, their reality of what they consume on the internet can be polar opposites as far away as on both opposite sides of the Milky Way galaxy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that's what makes it so fascinating and so hard when it comes to marketing to different audiences. Because you
Yeah.
have two black people, like there's two black people sitting on a train next to each other, but what they consume is just on the polar opposite of each other.
I liken it to religion almost. It's like if you've only ever read the Bible, or if you've only ever
Yeah.
read the Quran, and then it's
Hmm.
like there's more to life than there's other religions out here too. No, my
No,
God
no, no. Yeah.
won't. So um
Don't say wicked in front of them. You might
Hey,
get
God
slapped.
forbid, God forbid.
God
Yeah.
forbid you say wicked in front of them. You might get slapped.
Yeah, it just reminded me that wow, like it's just so like this is Black YouTube, like and YouTube is the planet. This is like the Maori Islands or some shit. Like I can barely see you on the map, and
Yeah.
the politics.
When it comes to
Yeah.
black YouTube, like the most curious thing, and I've thought about that. I've been thinking about this. Right. I would love to see the CPM of these
Oh yeah.
black creators.
Oh yeah.
I just, but the thing that's what's so hard, right? Is because a lot of black YouTube people operate like low. Let me be careful with that one. People, people are very niggardly in how they operate with things, right? Like, I would love to know the CPM of these black creators.
Hmm.
Like, I'm very curious to know what the CPM and what the click through. Like, I would like to know what the baseline is monetarily for this kind of content. Like just the baseline of just posting content and receiving clicks through ads and then payments through AdSense. Like I want to know monetarily what the baseline is for this type of content. And I've always found that to be fascinating. I've always been interested in that. Like I
Hmm.
don't care about this cash apps and stuff. You can't quantify cash apps
Right.
and super chats. You can't. There's no way to quantify that, right?
Right.
And I laugh at people when they quantify that. But I want to know what that CPM looks like because that would set the baseline on whether or not there's any point to if someone was like, hey, I want to start up a podcast when we get people on and we talk about black related topics, and I'll say, well, this is your CPM. This is your what you can expect. That's the lowest and that's the highest. And if I say the lowest for you is about $1.50 and the highest is $5, then you have to wage whether or not getting this $1,100 camera, this $400 mixer, this $4,000 computer, this $500 monitor, and those $600 microphones is worth it to you.
That's a good question.
That's
I
how I would judge the baseline of talking about black YouTube and content. Like, what's that CPM like? Like that will set the baseline for me. I don't care about super chats and cash apps.
Okay. Here's where I'll take it left. I don't think the average Black content creator cares about the CPM. All they care about is how much they're getting on the 21st of every month. And if it seems feasible, is doable, they'll do that. Because if that were the case, I think a lot of people would be changing their content and doing a major, major pivot if that were the case.
Well, I would argue that they care, but that is also supplemented on that 21st payout based on the super chats they received that
Okay.
month.
Okay.
So that's where that would supplement that AdSense payout, right?
Yeah.
So going back to the irrelevancy of the black YouTube stuff, right? So, and we were just talking about this before we went live, is that you can have people who start faceless channels talking about topics and farm and create a content farm strategy and scale it up, and you can make like $3,000, $7,000 a month if you really just focus on that one thing within like maybe 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just grind that channel out, and then you just have it automated with third party people making your script and making your thumbnails. The problem when it comes to like, let's say, coming back to the MKBHD thing is that when you have like the black YouTube content creators, like they only know how to view situations like that in their lens. Like,
Okay.
I have the Sigma 116 millimeter 1.8, right? So I see things really differently through that lens, right? But let's say black YouTube creators have the standard kit lens, and it can extend, but it can only see in things in a certain way.
Right.
So you see MKBHD, then when it's like, matter of fact, great point. MKBHD posted a picture of his girlfriend. Black women don't like white nerdy men because nerdy men choose differently, and black women don't like nerdy guys. Pookie versus Ray Ray and Educated Lane versus right. And you have all of that, and then you have NKBHD, and you have this issue with the cars, and all the white people are racist. They always hating on the black man because they don't want the black man to do anything, and There's people that bottom feeds crabs in the bucket. That's why black people can't get anywhere because black people always want to blah 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 blah. Right, right, and you have that. When this the context of the MKBHD thing is that MKBHD, he's kind of been screwing up this year,
Yeah.
right? So coming into the tech politics of it, right? One thing is that tech creators have not been making a lot of money recently with their tech content, right? Because of how YouTube has changed with the algorithm, tech creators are making less money per video based on their audiences, right? So I've been told this by 100,000 plus subscribers accounts. Okay, so that's something I didn't know that was a thing until I found that out this year, and that's been going on for a few years now. So then I piece together, and I pull out my, my invisible autistic window that I use to look at things. And I'm like, oh, so you got Linus Tech Tips, who's not. I don't even consider Linus Tech Tips to be a tech channel at this point. But you got Linus Tech Tips just branching out. You got MKBHD with the card content, the podcast. You got all these other tech content creators trying to do other things. Then you look at it like, oh, all these people have different income and are making less money, just like all these people here, and then all these people here, and then all these people here, and then all these people here. So that issue is a top to bottom thing in the niche. It's not just something relegated to smaller content creators now. So a lot of the tech content isn't making money as it used to. And I said, okay, that makes sense. So MKBHD has been branching out. He had started the wallpaper app, which was a horrible idea. I don't know who he has in his circle. He has terrible people in his circle, I believe.
I agree.
Because I don't know how you would sit down and come up with that idea and they would tell you that's a great idea. I could have told you that's a terrible idea. I could have told you all you have to do is fire up the app, make money on the ads that's in the app.
Yeah.
Call it a day. You know what I mean? Like, just make money off the ads. You'll get a bunch of downloads with just a bunch of ads. People will take the app even if it has ads.
Right. Yeah.
Why would you do that? I've been thinking about it all night, all weekend. Like, how does that video clear editors? Like, how did that video clear editors? How? Like, speeding in a school zone. How? How did that video clear your editors? So let me talk about the politics of tech content. The biggest thing, and I was trying to explain that in your chat to Varus. The biggest thing when it comes to tech content creators, that mobile electronics, is the perception. Okay, perception's a big thing.
Yes.
When it comes to tech creators. Perception is it's in no comparison to like gaming reviewers, movie reviewers. Perception is a big thing, right? So I'll give you an example, right? So there's a tech content creator that I don't follow anymore because of what he did. So he did a review of Pixel that was biased and incorrect because he didn't really know what he was talking about. So a young guy pretty much critiqued his content, did a content cop. A content cop is pretty much you just take a person's content and respond to it, but they call it content cop. So he did a content cop on him. He responded like it wasn't like, respectfully. So then the guy goes all triple OG on him and starts striking his channel. Gives the guy a deadline, say, hey, if you don't respond to me by this deadline, I'm going to continue to strike your channel, and almost got the kid's channel deleted.
Wow.
Now, this guy is known as a religious Christian, former veteran, nice guy. He's well regarded as a very nice guy. Behind the scenes, he's a complete douchebag, right? But no one knows that because he makes sure that things that happen behind the scenes never come to light. So you don't know that he did that.
Okay.
So their perception of things on Front Street matters so much to tech content creators, right? Which is like, so my situation, I had a situation, I talk about this all the time. I had a situation, one guy, he was doing a debate. I said, you can't really grade the debate this way. It doesn't make any sense. He had his female panelists kind of try to, talk some shit to me. That's a bad move with CEO, right? Don't do that. So then, I gave a little jab, and then everyone was like, oh, because they're very liberal too, right? So how they respond to things is like how you would expect, a progressive liberal to do. Like, oh my God, how could you say that to a woman? That's a female. And all this other shit, right? So then I had another guy, he was kind of talking to me crazy. I responded to him, and he comes in my DMs. He's like, oh, if you got a problem with me, we can go on the stream, we can talk it out. Who are you talking to? Who are you? What are you talking about? So then I shared the tweets, the private tweets on public, and then I tagged all his friends in it. I said, hey, come get your man. Everyone is like, this is why black people can't go get along and why black people doing this. I'm like, yo, this is what your man is saying to me in the DMs. Come get him. I don't know him. I'm not about to debate some guy that got a bonnet with long fingernails. Come get him. Right. And everyone's like calling me, hey, I just want to figure out what's going on. And, you know, I'm about business and do. I'm like, listen, you're playing dumb just like everyone else is. I'm just going to respect you because you called me. But we don't got a whole lot to talk about because come get your man because your man's acting stupid. Come get him. Right. That's how it is. So that's how a lot of situations like in tech YouTube operate. They operate like that, right? Then there's the gatekeeping. Then there's the gatekeeping. Like again, I know a guy who talks to a lot of tech creators. The company I was working for, we about to do an ad campaign. So I reach out to these guys on their Twitter space. I say, hey, I'm about to do an ad campaign. Do any of you guys know creators who deal with this niche? And I'm talking to black people because I'm hoping y'all give me some black creators. I'm trying to get some black people money, right? I'm trying to put black money in people's pocket, right? Here this nigga go. Well, what's your budget? I'm just asking, do you know the name of the people so I can look at their content? Well, I don't know if it'll be worth their time. This is what you get for trying to work with black people.
Okay.
You get that. You see what I'm saying? And you're gatekeeping. On top of that, you're gatekeeping. I didn't even tell you what the budget was. I didn't even tell you if I wanted to work with them. I'm just asking you for names so I can go look at their content. And you can't even do that because you're so busy being a gatekeeper. Then there's gatekeeping and contacts with advertisers. You know the person for speaking, but you don't want to give the contact information to the person that's speaking.
Right.
You make content on case reviews, but you're jealous of another person that does case reviews that are slightly better than yours, and now you're jealous. So now you're shading them on Twitter. Now you're arguing over. Now you're passive aggressively arguing with people because they're making better case review videos than you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't like it when people review products in a different way. Now you're arguing with them. So then we go back to the MKBHD thing, right? The people who feel they need to pledge allegiance to the throne of MKBHD and passively defend every single thing that he does. And I've muted people. Like I have people that tell me these stories all the time. I'm like, yo, just bro, like don't send me shit from this guy. Like I don't follow him. Like it's annoying. Like I don't care because it's the same thing. Like MKBHD does a thing. People say, hey, you shouldn't have done that. Why are you people always so directly criticizing everything that he does? Like people can't make mistakes. He's a human being. Why are you guys being so judged? Bro, you fucked up. like he made a mistake.
Yeah.
Like he made a mistake. We're not saying you should lynch him, but he made a mistake. Like allow people to take their L's. Allow him to take his L's. He's been on here long enough. He got some L's to take. Let him take his L's. We're not saying like burn his channel to the ground, but let him take his L's.
Right.
Like people feel they need to run what's the word? I forget this word. It's like when you run interference. Yeah. You need to run interference to deflect the criticism. Why? He's going to be okay, but let him take his L for now so he'll learn not to do it again. Well, but people, go ahead, man.
Well, you're right. I agree. I said he'll be fine. He'll learn. You know, bad boy. Swat him on the hand. Bad boy. Put his nose in the piss and shit, and be like, okay, don't do that again. But for 16 years, he's put out this image of himself, and I hate to do this to compare him to Flossy, but I feel more in common with Flossy.
Yeah, Flossy had he did 2 long live streams.
I seen it last night. I seen it. Talk about it though. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Flossy, he did a long live stream. So what Flossy does is not as what a lot of tech creators don't do, right? Yeah, okay. I thought this whole segment out before we even had it. So tech content creators, their perception is to be clean and professional, right? So even how I'm presenting my content to you, that's not really how a lot of tech creators would prefer to present their content, right? So the goal is to get the mic out of the face
Yeah.
and to have the mic overhead so you can't even hear me, and to not even be wearing headphones so you could just present the content without peripherals, without the mic in the face, right? That's how their goal is, to present their content as clean as professional as possible, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously, Flossy does more of the overhead product background type of content, but then he also does his live stream, which is something that a lot of tech creators just simply don't do. There's very rarely even live stream. Very rarely even invite random people on to their live stream,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to have a very controlled environment with their own people. That's how they create their gatekeeping apparatus.
Mm-hmm.
Flossy doesn't know. He'll just have pretty much people just come on and talk, and they just be shooting the shit like for hours, right? So he had a stream. I think he had a troll come on the stream, try to troll him a little bit. And he kind of, he flossed him up, and then he went and did another stream, and he's like, "Man, I don't know, I shouldn't let trolls." And I kind of sent a super chat to him. I was like, "Look, sometimes you gotta smoke the trolls, like," and that's what tech content creators don't do, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you gotta smoke the trolls sometime, right? You don't. Now, I'm not saying you give them all your energy, but you just bow, you just pop them in this shit one time. Like, all right, you come over here, you gonna get made fun of, because the thing with trolling is that trolling is a part of see how much you can get a reaction out of a person.
That's it.
The more reaction you get, the more they're gonna troll.
Yeah.
That's just, for an example, you got, my man Big J been getting trolled for 8 years. And it's an ongoing thing for him. So, you people that know they're gonna get a reaction on it, they're gonna continue to troll you, right?
Yeah.
And then if you give them one reaction, then just ignore it after that, they get bored because, well, he's just here. I'm just here now, right?
Mm.
So when it comes to tech content creators, all criticisms are trolling. All criticisms are hating. So any criticism that you provide can be considered hating or trolling,
Mm.
right? So I'll give you another example. So you got Viper, right? You covered Viper when he was crashing out on the Twitter space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Viper, his content, a lot of people don't really like his content, right? Because a lot of people kind of feel like it's kind of like, you know, boring, right? This was evident in a guy on X had said, "Why is this guy here to critique people on his content? I find his content boring and unimaginative. He does
Mm.
the same thing he's been doing the same thing for many years, and he doesn't even move the camera or use the camera angles. It's literally the same thing. So how does he the person to critique people's content?"
Mm-hmm.
Harsh, but valid.
Right.
Valid criticism. You're just a hater. You don't know me. You don't know the people I know. I make content and I work with so many people. Blah, 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 blah. Hater, 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 hater. Troll, 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 troll. Now, here comes with the perception. The people that he works with, that he's friends with, that he talks to every day, they all believe the same thing. But no one really tells them that.
I won't tell him.
No one tells them that. They want to keep the perception of collaboration alive. So no one says anything to them about that. They just kind of do the same thing over and over and over and over again. That's kind of how that works, right? So coming back to Flossy, Flossy is like arguing with the internal dialogue of like, well, I don't want to do that because I don't see like I'm going at trolls and trolls get it. It's a human thing. It's okay to let people know that you're gonna sometimes hop out and show niggas. Like with my thing, like, listen, I ain't arguing with people on Twitter all day, but don't come in my DMs with all this stuff. Like, I'll embarrass you, and I don't care about all your friends that are talking to me because I'll embarrass you with them. I just simply won't care. Okay, there's something when you show people that, notice, okay, well, I ain't gonna, I don't know about going in slide chat talking shit. Like, I might just get blocked. And then, he start talking about me for 2 hours, and then, he start finding content, and I'm in the bed, and my bed don't got a mattress. It's just a back spring, and I don't really know. I might just leave slide alone. I'm gonna leave slide alone. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna watch from the clouds and dislike his videos. I'm gonna leave it at that. you know, you know, I'm gonna just leave it at that. I ain't gonna, cause you be clowning me for about a week. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Well, let me ask you. As far as the tech community, how much does race play a part in this? And I ask you this because the very same live stream I was watching from Floss a couple days ago, he had said why he does the over the top reviews because he used to put his face in the reviews, and the racial names came in the comments. So
Well,
he
I
said
mean,
that.
the Google algorithm itself is racist.
Okay.
A black hand will get less views than a white hand.
Yeah.
I don't gotta like. And here's the funny thing, right? The people that get paid to tell you about YouTube things will omit that because that costs you money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't tell you that if you put your big black ass face in that thumbnail, you gonna get less views than the white people. I'm not gonna tell you that. I'm gonna let you bump your head into the wall, try to figure out why you're not getting so many views,
Mm-hmm.
so that you could pay me more so I could tell you ways that's not helping you, right? And it's offensive, but it is what it is, right? Once you get past being offended, you can understand to use to bend things to your needs and to benefit from them.
Right.
If you don't care about the views that you get by putting your big ass black face in the thumbnail, go ahead and do it. Or your black hands in the thumbnail, go ahead and do it. And I know there's a lot of creators who put their black faces and hands in thumbnails and they get all the views. I understand. I'm just telling you
Yeah.
that there are people who don't get the views when they do that. I'm just letting you know. There are a lot of big channels who have said that. And I've done the quasi casual research to understand that concept. Okay, so I'm not blowing smoke up your arse. Okay, you can believe it or not. It's up to you. I don't argue with people about things, but yeah, there's an aspect of showing your black face and black hands, and you get less views.
Is that just the reality we have to live with as content creators?
Yeah, that's what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. If MKBHD put his blackface in the thumbnail, don't matter. That's MKBHD. Maybe your average consumer, don't matter. It's your average consumer.
Mm.
Super staff, it don't matter. It's super staff. But you're you. And sooner or later, you're gonna have to, focus on things that are related to you. So you might want to switch up your thumbnail game. Right? You may want to switch up your thumbnail game and see what the results are, right? As far as like sponsorships, it doesn't matter, right? Samsung, they sponsor Black, Hispanic,
I was gonna say
Asian,
whoever.
white,
Yeah, yeah. They're
whatever.
pretty across the board. Yeah.
Apple, they have their handful of people they like to work with, white, black, whatever. you know, so it doesn't matter. But as far as like the algorithm and how they, send content out, yeah, there's a matter of fact, a streamer who does OBS tutorial reviews, Gale Level, right?
Okay.
Gale Level has mentioned that. Like he has said that when he puts his black face in the thumbnail, he gets less views. He has like 140,000 subscribers, right? A targeted niche with OBS tutorials and tips and streaming tips. So it's a thing, right? You have two account. Like matter of fact, what's the girl name? The woman, Erica Williams. Erica Williams has pointed that out too. You have one black accounting creator and one Asian accounting creator. They both make the same content. They both have the same amount of subscribers, but one just gets more views than the other. Because one puts his Asian face in the thumbnail, one puts his black face in the thumbnail. There may be some more deep dive details to the difference, but the most verifiable, objective thing you can see is the best baseline you can build things up from. What's the difference? Well, one's black, one's Asian. That's it. That's the initial difference you can see,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's a lot to that, but people who get paid to coach and critique things on YouTube, they're not going to tell you that because you can't fix black, you can't fix Hispanic, right? You
Okay.
can't fix white.
Okay.
You can only adjust to it. You can't do anything about that. So there's no money in telling you that. Like there's no money in telling you that people get shadow banned because I can't help you with shadow. There's no creator coach on YouTube that can help you with shadow ban. The only person that can help you with shadow banning is Donald Trump if he makes a digital bill. That's it.
Right.
No one else can help you with shadow banning. So I could take your money and tell you to make a thumbnail, change the title, fix your thumbnail, change the title, fix your thumbnail, change the title, but that's not going to help you with shadow banning.
Is there any sector or any niche that you have observed that handles politics well in your eyes?
No, no. There's no way politics is handled well on the internet. It's just not. The best place that politics is handled well in general is YouTube. Like YouTube handles politics pretty well, right?
Okay.
To an extent. Like because Twitch obviously right now is burning down to the woodworks right now. So they don't handle politics very well. X has gotten better with politics from the previous administration. So X handles politics pretty well. Instagram handles politics very well. Reddit handles politics very well, depending if the Reddit moderators aren't crashing out at the current time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Discord handles politics relatively well to whatever you consider Discord and well to be. Um, Individual niches, no. Politics is just not. Tech creators are just terrified of talking politics. Like they're like it's like turning off the lights in a dark room and running to your bedroom because you think the demons are behind you scared. Like,
Okay.
they don't wanna touch it. Like, it's horrible, it's terrifying, and then they all tech creators, they crash out because they're all liberal. Most of them are liberal progressives, and the ones who are just not liberal progressive, they're terrified of telling people their opinions because they wanna get canceled. They don't wanna get canceled because people are like, "I don't wanna talk to you, I don't wanna associate you," and in some ways, that could cost you money because now you have cool people that you're working with, but they're crashing out because of your politics. Now they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to collab with you. They don't want to mention you. You can't work with them no more. When you go to the conferences, they don't want to be around with you. They don't want to talk to you.
That's crazy.
It's politics in niches is never handled well. It's not even handled well in gaming. Like gaming is terrible too, right? You have all the gamer bros, everything DI woke, and then the gamer and journalist apparatus. They're all fascists. They're all brown shirts. They're all evil, bad people. So politics and gaming is just terrible too. It's handled poorly. It's horrible. So there's no niche that really handles politics well because there's no real way to handle politics well. Like people can't agree to disagree. It's agree to shame. It's agree to bash. Like even in the sneaker community, I've seen creators crashing out on Twitter over politics, right? So there's no real way to handle politics within a niche, but there's ways to handle politics on a platform.
Okay. What does that look like to you? In your perfect world, how would you, if you could, build it out and moderate
Well, I
it?
mean, Devin Nash painted a good picture, right? Devin Nash said, pointed out that YouTube handles it very well, even though I argue a lot with how YouTube does things. Their content moderation on YouTube is top notch, right? So so we're gonna put Twitter, we're gonna put Twitch versus YouTube.
Okay.
So the problem with Twitch is that all the advertisers are saying fuck no, we're out. And Twitch is like, well, if you're pulling advertising from this creator, you pull advertising from all creators.
Mm,
YouTube says, advertisers say, we're out on this type of content. YouTube says, no problem. This guy not getting no ads. And we'll serve your ads to all the other creators. Okay, advertisers like, okay, no problem.
gotcha. Yeah.
And YouTube will demonetize you, shadow ban you, deep throttle you, limit your reach. I'm not advocating that these are good things. I'm just saying how it is effective in maintaining advertisers on the platform with controversial content,
Mm,
right? So that's how YouTube handles it well. I would prefer YouTube, like with Donald Trump and his perceived and his proposed Bill of Rights, that these platforms these platforms tell you that you're shadow banned. They
okay.
tell you that they're de-throttling your content. They get a court order to delete your channel, delete your content, right? I'm not advocating that these are good things. I'm just saying that it is an effective way to keep advertisers on the platform. Because at the end of the day, you have to keep advertisers on the platform. YouTube is an advertising platform that hosts content. Okay. Twitch is a streaming platform that takes ads. And these are the two difference. So maintaining like this controversial content while maintaining the ads on the platform is vital. That's why the advertisers are coming back to X, and all the crash out progressive liberal celebrities are leaving because the show's over. There's a new sheriff in town.
I want to get back to your YouTube point. I agree. I would
Yeah,
love for YouTube to say, hey, your content is getting kind of sketchy. Dial it back. Give me a
yeah.
warning because, for us, like the moment you get demonetized, one day your shit can be all green. And literally the next day you get the email. You're no longer monetized because of this broad, general ass reason. They don't even
Bloop, bloop.
tell you what
Nope, don't tell you. Nope,
yeah.
don't tell
And
you.
I'm just like, what in the hell? And you just got to go scrubbing and hoping and wishing and praying you scrub the right ones off.
No, Iron 5, no. Trump's proposed plan for revision of 230 with a digital bill of rights will state that platforms would need a court order to delete content or delete your channel off the platform. That's what Trump has proposed with a digital bill of rights. That's not the concept right now. That's not something that's in action right now.
You think that's feasible? I can't see that happening.
I think it's feasible. They would need to. It would be a tough task, but I think
Very
it's feasible. I think it would be a tough task, but it would change. That would change the internet as far as it goes in the United States forever.
okay.
That would change the internet forever. That would cause an influx of free flowing information that would rival the beginning of the internet age. Just the level of free flowing information, because the way platforms control information is by removing and de-throttling content, so you don't know. Like
Mm.
my stream, I talked about the woman thinking that the election was stolen this year and looking at the votes from last year. And in my stream, I was saying, well, the problem is that this sister was her views of content arguing what she's arguing now, but was being argued last year, was throttled. So you don't know. You're thinking you're having a new conversation right now. What the
Mm,
conversation that you're trying to think and have was already trying to be had 4 years ago.
right. Okay.
But you don't know that because you didn't get to see that content. That content was moved off of all social media platforms, and no one could talk about that. So the information was not able to be free flowing. But the information this year was a little bit free flowing, which is why when someone said, oh, this person said that, like the Midas Network, for instance, right? They held a clip of Trump saying, I'll do it whether women like it or not, right? And I'm shocked. Like I feel like Neo in the Matrix. Because I'm looking at the clip and I'm like, wait a minute. I watched the whole clip and he didn't really say it like that. And then I'm looking at what they're doing. I'm like, holy shit. So this is what it feels like. Like you're looking at someone say this person said it, and then you pull the clip up on your screen and you play the clip in its entirety, and you're like, oh shit. And they do it without in a heartbeat.
Okay. So have content creators of that ilk become part of the problem?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, major part of the problem. Major part of the problem. And like I said earlier at the top of the hour, like they're paying for it. They're currently paying for it.
Mm,
They're part of the problem. 100%. 100%. That should be illegal.
okay.
In my view, that should be illegal to do that.
Yeah.
Like with the propagandists on the media networks, there should be a way that they should get charged up for causing mass hysteria. I'll be honest with you. I really feel that what they were doing to people, and and then after the election, right? It's LOL, it's do Trump dance thing, YMCA. But then after a while, you gotta show a little compassion to people, because there are really people that believe every single thing that they heard from him. Like I had my mentor that I known for since I was 13, prattle off the talking points verbatim. Well, she worked in the judicial, the legislative, the executive. She was a governor and a senator. If it's not that, then what is it? Then it has to be racism or misogyny. I'm like, yo, verbatim, the talking points, verbatim. And I just think like those media agencies and content, these people should be charged up for causing mass hysteria. Like, because there's people that really think that it's over for them.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
people that like once you get past the LOL and the jokes, right?
yeah.
Like this is how I rationalize. Like once you get past the jokes, like let's get past the jokes now. There's people that really think their life has changed forever after November 6th. There's people that really think that. And these media organizations that lie, objectively lie. Now, I'm not saying that it may be a lie. No, like Player Clip said he gonna shoot the woman in the face. That's not what he said. And then people believe that he said that. They've caused mass hysteria since January 6th. People crashing out, cutting their hair off. Like that's a mental breakdown. Like for a person to do that, self-harming, cutting it, that's considered like in therapy, that's considered self-harming, a form of self-harm.
Yeah.
When they're doing that.
Yeah.
That's a form of self-harm. Like to relieve the tension and the anxiety, that's a form of self-harm. Like that's mass hysteria. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, once you get past the jokes and the LOL, that's a problem.
Yeah, I've had a couple female or women call me legit depressed. Like, oh my god, he's gonna take away our. I'm just like, wow. What?
Yeah, like one, like, and this is weird, and I try to, like, I understand, like, once you get done with the LOL, once you get done with the jokes, that's a problem. Like, that's what's classified as mass hysteria. Like, back in the Nick can help me with this one. When was the War of the Worlds broadcast? Was that in the 30s or the 40s?
19 was it 58? You know what? I'll look it up while you go ahead.
Okay, so like the War of the World broadcast, that caused mass hysteria. There were no TVs. There were no cell phones. There were no social media. So all people's form of news was the radio.
That's
So
right.
when the War of the World broadcast happened, people really thought that the world was being attacked by aliens. And that caused
1938. Yeah.
huh?
1938. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So a little bit before World War II, right? If I'm not mistaken. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm foggy with the years. Just forgive me. But anyway, so that caused mass hysteria at a large scale. That caused problems for people. The authorities was like, "Yo, you can't do this." That caused problems. So when you come back now to the modern day, and you got social media platforms telling people, paying content creators to say one thing, or media organizations paying content creators to say one thing, corporations paying content creators to say one thing when it's all objectively lies. And now when it goes against your way, you got people crashing out, stabbing their dads to death, causing mass hysteria.
Are you surprised at the level that it's reached?
No,
Or
I'm not surprised. How could you be surprised? They spent 4 years saying that he was a small mustache.
dog, I was shaving like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, how people respond to me?
Don't.
The wife was like, don't do it.
Like, so we have to understand that social media has evolved social media has evolved drastically from 2015.
Okay.
Like we don't understand like how much our technology and communication has evolved since then.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 40% of people get their news from social media.
Yeah.
Right? Content is produced in so many ways and shared in so many ways, and the quality is almost one-to-one to what you see on TV. Like my stream looks like you're watching MSNBC if without the backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
Your sound could be one-to-one with how people talk on the on ESPN, and you can get content faster than news can produce it.
Right.
When Trump got shot, I didn't see it on ABC on the YouTube. I found out on X.
Mm-hmm.
So the influx of information has changed to a point where people can get more information in different ways. So before, when Trump ran in 2015, it was YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And if you really didn't watch TV and you didn't follow politics on YouTube, you had no idea what really was going on, because I couldn't tell you how much I didn't care about the 2016 election.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care. I just showed up to vote, and I voted for Jill Stein because I didn't care about both candidates. And I went on about my day. Pops told me Trump won. I was like, man, the racists got Trump. And I went to sleep and went on about my day. And then I went to work, and I saw all the sad faces on the train, and it felt like the day after 9/11. And then I go, and I was working at a Jewish organization at the time, and then they call everyone into the rotunda, and I'm thinking somebody died. And then it was a Jewish origin. It was like a Jewish organization because they had a rabbi. So then the rabbi starts talking. I'm like, yo, what happened? And then the rabbi starts talking about the election. I said, and that's when it started. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it started then. So now you get 2016 to 2020 and 2020 to 2024. That's 8 years of social media content development.
Yeah.
So we're in a different time than 2016 now. Like 2016 might as well be 2001.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It might as well just be 2001 to where we are now. So yeah, the people get so much content. You can you go on your phone and you flap on Twitter, and it's brown shirt this, small mustache that, reproductive rights, death to America, democracy, 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 democracy. So yeah, there's people, and like people who follow political content. Like, I'm not a political content person, but I follow enough of it, right?
Mhm.
We're like in like the top 1% of content consumers. Most people still will just get their content from MSNBC and CNN. Well, my mentor told me, well, who else do I watch? Because, I'm listening to Rachel Maddow. You listen to Rachel Maddow? But your reaction and my reaction shows how different we are to most people. Because I know Rachel Maddow's full of shit. You know Rachel Maddow's full of shit.
Yeah.
But people that just watch MSNBC, they don't know that. They don't believe that.
Okay. Is that more generational than anything? Because I don't expect my dad to go on Twitter. My dad sits and watches.
It's generational, but it's not so much, right? So the demographic is this, right? The oldest demographic that consistently tunes into them is that 60 plus demographic.
Okay.
Okay. So anyone in that 60 plus demographic, as far as generational names, I don't know if that's Gen X or baby boom. I don't know, but it's 60 plus. So that 60 plus demographic are the people that watch the news entirely, right? They're the ones that just watch CNN. They just watch them. They don't watch social media. They don't follow it like that, right? So that's 60 plus demographic, right? Yep. That's the demographic that boosts the news organization's numbers, right? Because without that 60 demographic, their numbers are really bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're really bad because more people, like for instance, more people watch Turning Point, Charlie Kirk's live stream of the election than his live stream numbers were comparison to MSNBC and CNN on election night. Okay. So if I told you that in 2016, we would all laugh like that's a joke. But in 2024, that's a reality. So that's that older demographic as they transition, that demographic, the current demographic will get older, but they won't get older and go back and follow the same trends.
Gotcha.
Because they're part of generations that consume social media.
Right.
And then eventually they're going to lose more viewership. But they have an old demographic that just watches the news and follows everything that they watch. And that demographic is going to age out and transition eventually.
Yeah.
And that's where their problem comes in for their future programming planning needs. And that's why the news, so if we remember, when Trump got elected, the news media was fighting with YouTube and social media platforms to dethrottle independent. So we all forgot about. I didn't forget about this. A lot of people forgot about this stuff because the YouTube went to the Senate and said we have an approved content system, right? And they use flat Earth as a buffer for that argument, right? It wasn't really about flat Earth to an
Right.
extent. It was really about controlling so we don't have another 2016 situation on the internet, and they couldn't stop it nonetheless. That's why I'm weaving, but just follow me. I'm
I'm
weaving, but
with you. I'm
follow
with
me.
you.
So they use the flat Earth thing as a buffer, right? Oh, flat Earth and NASA, and how can you stop people from talking about flat Earth? And well, we have approved content. That's why now still on YouTube, you type in flat Earth. You don't see anyone actually talking about flat Earth. You just see Veritasium and
Yeah.
people mocking flat Earth and telling you why flat Earth doesn't exist.
Right.
Well, that's not actually what you just want to see things about flat Earth, right? But they don't show you that approved content, right? That's why when you type in something on the news, CBS, NBC, CNN, ABC, Fox News is at the bottom, but you don't get independent content creators when you look up things on the news still.
Mm-hmm.
That's because of the approved content algorithm, right? That's what caused that, because before Donald Trump, it wasn't like that. But after Donald Trump, it's like that because they want to control how information comes to you when you're searching for news because of that, because they want to be able to control the narrative. That's why Elon Musk buying X was such a problem, because Jack Dorsey was just a figurehead. Jack Dorsey was just, on the island, getting high off ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers and shit. He didn't really give a shit.
Right.
He didn't care. He wasn't even controlling most of the stuff. He didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
But when Elon Musk bought the platform, that's a problem, because I don't want to get sidetracked with who controls who, but I'm just saying they don't control Elon. They don't have control over Elon. Elon does his own thing with his own people, but they're not his people. So Elon Musk does his own thing, and that's a problem for them because they lost control of the narrative on X. So they don't have the narrative on X. They control the narrative on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, but not on X. And the problem with X is that X is an aggregator for news content.
Right.
And it's faster than YouTube. You can tweet something that happened and you'll see it faster than it uploads on YouTube.
Yeah.
So the speed of deliverability, whatever the word is faster than YouTube, Facebook, and the news media. They can't deliver the news faster than X can because you can just tweet, boom, so that's it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Let me add to your point, because the letter that Joe Biden put out that he was withdrawing, and I got it off Twitter. I sent it to my dad. I said, "Dad, you were right." He says, "What is this?" I said, "He's stepping down." Well, the news ain't said it. I said they will. Give it a couple hours.
Give it a couple of hours. Exactly. Give it a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Exactly. Matter of fact, Charlie Kirk, Trump got Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
See, I knew Trump had Pennsylvania 5 hours ago.
Yeah.
I knew it was over in Pennsylvania. Once he got North Carolina, Virginia, it's over. That's it. We done. Remember on my stream, I was like, listen, if it goes like this, it's over.
Yeah.
It don't matter. If it goes like this, it's over. And it went like that, it was over. The news was holding out. Everybody watching that stream knew Trump got Pennsylvania. We were just waiting for the news to confirm it because they didn't want to confirm it.
Mm-hmm.
They fired up the trucks. They had the trucks fired up.
Yeah.
The trucks was matter of fact, when they were talking about they won't know the count until next few days, you saw the fucking trucks coming in. You saw the people coming in with more ballots. I don't know what happened that night. Some troops might have showed up at the back of the building, and they probably said, "Yeah, we're not doing this again. It's over." And they got the word and say, "Listen, it's over. We're gonna call it. No more late drop-offs from California license plates. It's over."
Yeah.
But yeah, like the news delivered, like Joe Biden dropped that thing. Like you knew Joe Biden was dropping the moment that shit went viral on X. You didn't even see a YouTube video before before you knew on X.
Nope.
And you gotta record the video.
Yeah.
You gotta do the thumbnail. You gotta do the title. You gotta do the description. You gotta wait for YouTube to post it. You gotta wait for it to process. You gotta wait for the little time frame for it to click. X. Oh shit, Joe Biden resigned.
Yeah.
Joe Biden stepping out the race.
Yeah, he said, well, the news ain't saying nothing about it. I was like, oh my
God. The news not going to.
But he's 70, whatever, 76, 70. I'm not going to tell this man You
Yeah,
know,
like Free Zone Lou said, like once Trump got Pennsylvania, I went to bed. Yeah, once he got Pennsylvania, it's over. It's over. Good night. That's exactly what I told people to hope for. If he gets Pennsylvania, we could go to bed. It's over. They can argue about it all they want. It's over. And then I didn't think the nigga would sweep all the others. I was like, oh shit, he
yeah.
swept everything.
Um,
God,
before I let you go, how do you feel about this thing that we do moving forward? Are you pessimistic, optimistic?
pessimistic about what?
Just do you see better days ahead for content creation?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't see why you would be pessimistic, right? Like, I mean, if you did political content, I'd be pessimistic, right? Because it might get choppy for you.
Okay.
Um, I mean, even like people who do like dating relationship content, it's green skies ahead. Like you can do whatever you want. It's just how you do it, right? You can, in relatively speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can post any kind of content you want. I mean, Sly, like I've I I've been listening to ASMR channels that like role play scenarios. Like this one I saw, right? Where it's like, oh, your vampire bestie is sitting on your bed and she wants to suck your blood. And
What?
yo, I'm like, what? Yo, I'm like, what? And I'm listening to it. It's the wildest shit. Like in my like, and I'm just laughing because I cannot believe that this is content on YouTube. It's like, and she's like, hey, so you're my favorite human, right? And it's been a while since I fed, but I only want to, I want to do it with your consent, and you can hold my hand. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like,
God
what
damn.
the shit is this? Like, you can find, like, I found content on a guy who does Nerf guns,
Okay.
Nerf gun reviews, right? Like, there's people who do reviews on the on adult video games, right? They do
Okay.
reviews on adult video games
Okay.
on
Okay.
YouTube, right? Like gardeners, people who do reviews on keyboards, who review cleaning appliances, who review cooking ware,
Hey, wait.
who
G. This what's the name of the vampire channel? God damn.
Yo, yeah, I'll tell you, I be everywhere, man. But yeah, like I mean, you got people that review clips of VR YouTubers. Like I'm like, what? Like he's reviewing the clips of VR YouTubers. You have reaction channels that react to reaction channels.
Okay.
Like, I mean, if you can think it, there's a YouTube channel for it, right? And I'm just talking about YouTube, but yeah, if you could think it, there's a TikTok for it. If you can think it, there's an Instagram for it. If you can think it, there's an X for it. If you can think it, there's a Reddit forum for it, right? Do that, on a Tor browser probably. But yeah, there's a Reddit forum for it. There's a Discord community for it. Like there's a community and a platform and a niche for whatever it is that you think that you want to do, right? So I don't see a reason to be pessimistic, right? I don't see this as being hopium
Mhm.
because if it was going to be bad, you would see the transition to it getting bad.
Okay.
Like right now, we would be talking about YouTube creating stricter moderation on the platform,
Right.
right? There will be the X would be talking about stricter moderation on the platform. There'll be sweeping bans of all forms of content, and we know that's not happening,
Mhm.
right? So I have no reason to be pessimistic, right? And every you can wait, see hope a springs eternal. Don't be knocking me with the new Jabez now. Don't be doing that. Now I love me some new Jabez. Now you gonna have me crying because my man new Jabez been dead for like 20 years. I ain't never recovered off of that, man. I ain't recovered from that. Man, goddamn you new Jabez. You play a new Jabez song, you right with the world after that.
Oh my
You know what I'm
god.
saying? do 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 There's a guy I watch who literally chops Jordans in half.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, Rose Anvil.
Yeah, he chops up the
Rose
Red
Anvil.
Wing boots and all types of shit. I'm like, he's ruining
Yeah, he
these
cut
good
up the
boots.
Yeezys. You know, he cut up the Yeezys. You know what I mean? There's a channel that they split the sneakers in half, right? There's YouTubers that drop phones from parachutes on mountains and shit just to
Yeah.
see if they'll work. Like, there's so many things you can make content about. Like, I don't see how you could ever be pessimistic unless you just produce black YouTube content.
Okay.
Then, I don't know, nothing will really change for you. I mean, your content would depend on what black content creator is exposed for having a secret family that's not so secret, but it's secret enough that he didn't tell anyone that's on his channel about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Arguing about dating, a relationship, and reviewing Kendra. Matter of fact, there's channels that review Kendra G host. Let me just sidetrack for a second,
Yeah,
man.
please. Yeah.
Let me say something. The women that go on Kendra G have all I see them all as having some form of mental illness
Okay.
because I'm just how many kids you got? 4 for 4, 5 for 5. How much the man needs to make? 150. Huh? What? With a straight face. Okay. I mean, and Kendra G just be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. All right, how many kids you got? You got 6 kids by 6 men. All right. He needs to make what, 90,000? Okay, I hate. Hey, listen, and you can make content reviewing her crazy ass people that she have on her show.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, them hoes, they crazy. I listen. I thought the market in New York was bad. Them women are crazy, and they all seem to be Capricorns for some reason. I don't understand it. Every time, what's your zodiac sign? Capricorn, 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 Capricorn. Where you at? Atlanta. I'm like, listen, I'll stay my ass up here in New York City, where I know where I'm gonna get. Listen, you know, you get chubby babe that work in healthcare, and she's not crazy. Like, I'll deal with that. Like, y'all, that shit is, I can't deal with that. But yeah, you can make content on that. Like, there's so many things you can make content on, and there's so many ways you can make the content.
Yeah.
There's so many ways you can deliver the content. There's so many ways you can scale the content up. To make it automated. I mean, the sky's the limit, man. I don't see a reason why, there should be any pessimistic feeling about making content if you just simply don't have the desire to do anything else, right? If your thing is to just fire up Zoom and have people come on and argue and for 3 to 4 hours, then don't worry about anything that's going on in the world. That don't got nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
You just do your thing and you just fine with that. But I mean, if you want to do more and if you want to add another layer to your content, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. I mean, literally, there's a AI app called Opus Clips, and you can feed your entire live stream into Opus Clips. You can tell it how to cut it, and it will make the clips for you
Nice.
with the subtitles and
Okay.
edit it for you. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, you have so many AI tools. Like, you you can have the AI tool do the editing for you. And if you just want to let the AI tool do the editing for you, and you just do the thumbnail, and you just, toss some things together on Canva, and you just put it up on YouTube, you have the ability to do that. Like, I mean, listen, the sky's the limit with content on YouTube. That's all. From a person that's a digital nomad connoisseur of content, like, I mean, the shit that I see that people post and upload on YouTube would fascinate you. Like, I'm just saying. Like, matter of fact, there's a YouTube channel of a guy who lost his arm and has made his own prosthetic that moves individually on the joints of his fingers that's fully made out of metal.
Oh wow.
You see it just like, just like a Terminator, and his whole hand is metal, and it moves just like this with all the individual joints. And he has other content creators that he sends the arm and tools with so that they could work on it. Listen.
Oh, okay. Okay. If you can dream it, think it, you can dream it. You can believe it. You can achieve it.
Think it, yeah. If you think it, there's someone on YouTube that's posting it. I promise you. There's rarely anything that you can think of that doesn't have someone making content on YouTube. right? So, you know, it's an ocean of content, right? So that's why I get a little irritated when I see people. You just watch one thing, like you like you have the Book of Alexandria in front of you, and you just want to read one book.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to read one book, like it's like, and if you have like a little micro storage spatial anomaly in front of you, you don't even got to reach down the library. You can just put your hand in the book and pull out a different book,
Yeah.
and you don't want to read a different book. You just want to watch one thing.
So that
That's,
speaks more to the person, I believe.
and I don't shame people, but I'm just like, you just want to watch tech, like you just want to watch black YouTube stuff, like do you know what you like? We're at a time right now in YouTube that doesn't even compare to what it was in 2015.
Mm.
Like the amount of things that you can have access to on a platform is amazing, and you just want to watch one thing, and that one thing is that one unproductive thing because you can laugh. Well, shit, I just told you can laugh your ass off listening to a girl role play a tomboy bully laying on the couch with you. That shit is funny too. Yeah, I'm setting up my dual PC and I just stopped because I'm busting out laughing because this shit is just genuinely funny to me. I'm like, it's the funniest shit I ever. And she's like, hold my hand if you feel pain and don't pass. I'm like, what?
Now we're all about to go looking for vampire ASMR.
Vampire ASMR.
Holy cow.
Yo, funniest shit. That made my night. I'm not even gonna that made my night. The funniest thing I ever heard on the internet. Oh my god, it was so hilarious.
On that note, this is the indomitable C over the technician. Please go sub to his channel. One of my favorite people on and off this YouTube thing. Vampire A. Okay, I learn something new every day.
And I'll come back at a later stream and we'll talk about the AI music. And I'm not telling Sly what to do. We already discussed this before.
No, we just okay. You know, I'm game for it. I'm game.
Yeah. Don't be telling. I ain't telling Sly nothing. We already talked about this. No, because I intercept all arguments.
Yeah,
but no, we'll come back because the Suno V4 is it's a whole entire conversation for another stream.
My man C over. Thank you, bro, for coming through and blessing us as always with the gems.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a good one, man.
Peace, bro.
All right.
All right. That's show number 1. I got AM1 coming on later on tonight in about a couple hours. So give me time to kind of decompress, get something to eat, and we'll be back for show number 2. See y'all in a few hours. Peace.